Yeah, and it might get uploaded exactly.
Okay. When are you recording?
Yeah, I mean it's now the first time, and these kind of community calls will probably be also, especially in the beginning, quite chaotic. And that doesn't matter. We upload it anyway because it's open source, right? And yeah, and it's okay to be to be a little bit chaotic, but I think it's also interesting for everyone to follow it. And maybe we can just record anytime while you're preparing also in the future to come into the call that it's already recording. So if you don't want to see your face on the recording on YouTube, then you might best come in with no camera or switch your camera off. Almost at any time as you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and saying that, I don't think it makes sense to wait for more time. We just should start right away, and maybe people are coming, maybe people are going. That's the way community call goes more or less. And Schultz will be somehow the moderator. He will also take care about the chat because maybe some people don't want to speak up, so maybe they want to just write something in the chat, and he will take care a little bit. So I think happy if you want to say some words from Schnurz, or you want to. Because I think we are now, it's the first call, right? And also the people who are mostly dealing with that stuff. And I think Mike is the one who is most busy with serious coding. That's why I think we should focus a little bit on the one hand on looking in this call on the. Have you started recording or not?
I started recording, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I think we should look a little bit into what Mike have achieved so far, and also then look into the PRs a little bit and see what's the status, what we can merge, and if we can merge anything. And but maybe I have prepared a little bit with the demos, Mike. I'm not sure whether you have prepared anything, because if you want to, you can also show what's up, because one of the main things which we struggle with on Specter DIY is that the firmware is pretty outdated in terms of MicroPython, because Specter and also SeedSigner is working on MicroPython trucks as well. And for that, you need to port MicroPython to the corresponding board. In our case, the Disco board. And that has been done in the past, but it has been done in a way where changes were necessary to the core repositories.
Yeah, that's right. Currently, I'm finishing the PR to the core, to upstream repo, and there are some issues with it, because first, this PR should be cleaned up from the Spectre stuff, because it won't be merged by maintainers if it contains some unrelated things to MicroPython. Second, they use a bit different QSPI ideology than we are doing. We are seeing this QSPI flash device as a secondary storage, and they are seeing it either as a main storage or as extension of the main storage. So they are virtually joining these drives, and for the PR, so it would get more chances to be accepted, I decided to follow their way, to implement in the MicroPython way, and then we will reuse this code, applying the patch that will return the things to our usual way.
Yeah,
So currently this PR is mostly done. I just have to finish this QSPI stuff, and already tested it yesterday on Discovery board. It works. It works together with the bleeding edge MicroPython right from the master, so it's not even the stable release that I'm basing for our Specter firmware. And it works fine, so that would be a good news for me. It's nothing breaks from it. I think to submit it the next few days.
Make a small break because you're talking about the PR to MicroPython, right?
Yeah, it's a PR to upstream MicroPython.
Yeah, and maybe not so many people here, or at least I understand more or less what is meant there, but maybe to bring the people a little bit on board with what we're talking about, I maybe just quickly show what is meant here, because I have prepared a little bit something. So, yeah, we have here the Specter DIY project, and this is currently the PR Mike is working on. Not the PR we just mentioned, that's something different, but what we want to achieve is that we bring up all the libraries and upgrade all the libraries, and that involves MicroPython to the newest versions. And there is so MicroPython is something like Python, a programming language, and you need a kind of interpreter. So you usually have Python and then some Python file. And in our case, you can see that here in the bin folder, there is a kind of MicroPython version which is running on your local machine on a whatever you have. And
currently, it's just we
sorry.
just see our snaps.
Then I try again. Share. Click that button. Is that better?
No, it's black.
Not yet.
Damn, we tested it before. What's wrong? Okay. Let me try this one. Is that better?
Yeah, it's a bit better.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe you can make it full screen.
Yes, like that. Yeah. And the thing is, like, we have now, so MicroPython is then working on different boards, and one of the boards in parentheses is a machine. So you have that simulator. You can run it as it would be on the board, and that is now we're working also as far as I know the MicroPython for the Disco board is working, right? That's it's not working on my side, and it's not so relevant, but it might be a little bit complicated to do it. But just to show that I don't clean because it would take a long time, but you do something like this Unix in order to build the MicroPython build for your machine. So in my case, a Mac, but that works on Linux as well. And then you can do something like here we have the address navigator. Bam. And then you see something which could be shown on a Disco board, but it's somehow simulating. And here you see some hard-coded demo, which Mike, you created it, I guess, right?
This one is not created from scratch. It's ported from the earlier version of MicroPython and LVGL.
Okay. And that is using...
But
that's using the
it's already using the later version of graphic library, LVGL, and the recent version of MicroPython.
Yeah, exactly. And that's here we have another example. We have, I think, no, it's,
yeah, it's inside your display.
yeah.
This one, it's a more generic demonstration of the graphic library with new sliders, new keyboards, some new features. So we can also integrate these UI features in the new Specter firmware.
Exactly. Yeah. So it has the we have the opportunity here to upgrade the old firmware with the newest libraries, and then we will have the kind of experience we are used to, which is if you compare to Seed Signer, not the best, but it works, and we are updated, and we can do all sorts of things. For example, I wanted to connect the camera to the simulator in order to scan QR codes, right? And I worked a little bit on that, and that was not possible with the old libraries, and it might be possible with the new ones, right?
Yeah, I think it's totally possible. We can connect a regular webcam. We can run a QR code scanner library and output the code in the same format. Hi, CryptoGuide.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we just made a very tiny demo of Mike's work. Yeah, so yeah, we won't repeat it, but maybe just one thing here. For you, very quickly, we have now a MicroPython Unix port. We also have a MicroPython Disco port, which don't run yet, but it's because it's not too well, I would say, or not too easy to let it run on Mike's PR. But then you have something, for example, here the simulator is already working with a tiny example where there's a here some GUI example, and also we have here an example of an address navigator, which you can run on the simulator, and we can expect that whatever you're doing on the simulator will later work on the Disco board, right? And I mean, the upgrading of the new to the new versions is important for the existing software, but maybe some people also want to play around and create something completely new. I'm not sure what you're thinking about, but I thought about something like a kind of a playground here, where we start with something, because you can just copy the demo, the Python demo, to the root folder, and then people can start messing around with stuff and just play around and see what they can do and look at the code, at the demo code.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that was very good, because I started having a look at the upgrade to MicroPython, is it allows us to simulate stuff that deals with hardware on a PC more easily as well. So you can literally, just wire up your camera to your computer and actually test the real code rather than doing it in native Python first and then making sure it all works in MicroPython. So I think that's great. It's important work.
Right. Yeah, and I just mentioned I have a PR somewhere on my local branch where I wanted to get the camera of the PC working and connect it so that the simulator is working with the camera of the PC in order to test, for example, QR code scanning and things like that. So this is not possible on the old version, but in theory, at least, it is possible with the upgrades which Mike is currently working on.
Yeah. The other thing that I was having a play with, actually, that I haven't brought any PRs for, was even just a native Python simulator, because one of the questions that you put to one of the PRs that I had for the importing wallet descriptors is, where's the tests and stuff, which is a good question, but the challenge right now is we don't actually have like a working CI pipeline, which would be, to me, an important thing to be able to, every new feature that's added, you have your little CI tests, and
that's very important.
Yeah, having either a native Python implementation or a better simulator that can just be working with GitHub Actions, to me, is very, very useful. And yeah, you've got some CI there, but to me, just even the work of expanding the CI to cover all the unit tests and everything. And
absolutely. Yeah. So
so that's really important work. So
yeah, at least what we have here, what I like about it is that whenever you do a commit and you, I think that's if you do a merge to main, it will automatically build a version of the firmware which you can download and then flash on your device if you want to. So that's the advantages of this one. Yeah, and I think one part which we should definitely look a little bit about is what kind of PRs, maybe should do it a bit bigger, we have, and whether we can merge any of that, right? So because from my point of view, what would be important in order to release is to get the keys off from Stepan's shoulder. He don't want to do that anymore, and we need to remove Ben as well. And so I have this PR here, which updates the bootloader, the bootloader submodule where the keys are. So this is the question that who is able to upgrade the versions which are out there? Because if you remember the Specter DIY, you can have an initial firmware, and then you do updates. And updates you do by copying files to a SD card, so the firmware to the SD card, and then you inject it to the device. And if this is not signed properly, then it won't be updated. And this PR is changing who is able to do the updates. And then, Stepan has to do one last release, and then we can get that going. So we already have from CryptoGuide an acknowledge, and I would love to have at least one more or so, because otherwise I would have, if I don't know, Mike or Schnurz would do here an acknowledge as well, then I would merge it. Yeah, happy if you take your time, Mike, but or Schnurz, or if we can agree here to merge it, maybe you simply one of them make it kind of acknowledge, and then I click the merge button.
I would add just a little test that verifies the signature. And run it with all new participants to make sure that they all can sign and the signature in the right format. So it's like a simple Python tooling that verifies the signatures, all the signature existing in the firmware package.
The other thing you could just throw in if you want is just throw in the candidate upgrade, though it would still need to be signed by Stepan, just for a few of us to try testing out the firmware to make sure it migrates properly before releasing it on the public.
You mean we are creating an initial firmware, right, and then do one upgrade, or what do you?
Mike probably knows this off the top of his head better than me, but I can't recall looking at the source whether the firmware supports being replaced, like upgrading a new firmware that will then replace the bootloader. Is that a feature we've got in Specter? I haven't double checked in the last little while.
Yeah, bootloader also can be upgraded.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about here.
But it's always upgraded, right? So it's not like a flag for the release, but the bootloader always gets upgraded, right? Mike?
I don't remember exactly. I need to check, but bootloader upgrade is definitely an existing thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's obligatory to do all the time. As I remember, it's not.
Okay.
So bootloader is upgraded only when it's needed.
Yeah, maybe let's do it.
Also, the Specter stores 2 copies of Bootloader, so the new one may run only if it's uploaded properly and verified. Unless it's verified, the short startup code runs the previous version of Bootloader, always, for safety.
How to build a firmware which is upgrading the bootloader, right? Yeah. Okay, fine like this, or any other requirements for this PR? Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Then let me just check what we have. Yeah. Then we have this one. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether. So Mike, you had some hesitancies on Nix, right?
It's just a personal thing. I don't like it using on my development machine. I'm using only on virtual machines, just because I found it too invasive. It installs a lot of things inside the systems. It requires root permissions. It creates users, and I simply don't like it.
Okay. I'm, as I said already, I don't think it's invasive. From my point of view, it's exactly the opposite of invasive, because, or at least the way I use it, I'm not aware I use any, or I need to use any, super user rights or something like that. But nevertheless, I think we should provide options here. And for me, it was very, very easy because all the dependencies get installed automatically. Right. So, and you can switch between different, directories, and then automatically the right dependencies are in the right. So you have 5, in my case, I don't know.
I absolutely don't mind using at the CI. I just don't use it on my development machine.
Yeah, but I mean, the files are there. You don't have to use it, but we can merge it nevertheless, right?
Yeah. But if you would like me to test it, we'll just take a bit.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to, because it doesn't make sense that you test it, because if you won't use it anyway, why should you waste your time? So I'm not sure. I think Polto wanted to test it at some point in time. Yeah, and I'm not sure, CryptoGuide, how valuable you think that is. For me, it's a game changer. I love it. Yeah, but
I'm kind of platform agnostic in terms of I don't care if it's Nix, Docker, like any of these sorts of things. Like they're all fundamentally doing the same thing, providing a nice consistent environment. So, and yeah, I don't have a huge. I tend to run up many virtual machines to do all these things. So the concerns that Mike has, I definitely hear those, but I kind of keep things quarantined anyway. So it's less of a concern for me.
Okay, so I have to wait for Paul to on for this, I guess.
I'll just give it a run right now and just run through it and check it works.
Yeah, well...
to me, this PR, it's a bit redundant because we already have a Docker with reproducible build. So basically, this thing is repeating what we already having.
So from my point of view, it's mechanism, not policy. That is something which has been stolen from the X project. And I'm talking about the X window project, which was incredibly successful and had as a kind of mantra built for mechanism, not policy. So it's not about, and I think that's also, by the way, something which I took as a guideline for Specter Desktop, and I think it's also a guideline for Specter DIY. You don't want to force the people to use a specific process. You want to give them the opportunity and the possibilities to use whatever in the way they would like have it, right? And I think I'm also a heavy Docker user, but sometimes it's very useful to use Nix, and it's very annoying to always have these kind of Docker commands. And that was my workaround, by the way. Without Nix, for some time, I was only able to build with Docker a valid firmware, and I did that with Docker, and then it was possible. But yeah, I think for easy development and for people who are not familiar with Docker, Nix, and I'm not talking about the Nix operating system. You don't have to use the Nix operating system. That might definitely be something which is really over the top. But here, yeah, you can use Nix or just part of the Nix, or effectively the part which you would like to have because there are requirements. Very easily, and then you can use your native machine and don't have to, separate them. Even though, CryptoGuide or others might find that very useful. Yeah. So I would be really happy if you would update it. It's also a little bit of different stuff in here, a little bit of development, some stuff which I came up to when I created the software for the house test. We have some tests there for hardware which we need, and so we have some stress test. There's a stress test PR which is not supposed to be merged ever, but this is somehow a supporting PR which I used in order to create the stress test stuff. Yeah, so CryptoGuide, I would be really grateful if you can, or I'm asking Tolto once again to get that going here. Okay, that was this one. Then this one exactly. This is the stress test PR, which I at some point in time I will move that away and maybe only keeping the branch or so. But it's very useful to have it as a draft currently, because then you can look at the dish and things like that. So maybe we can keep that here for some time. This is Mike's PR, which he's currently working on. Yeah. So and then that is the test stuff. And CryptoGuide, you saying that it's somehow difficult. Well, to be honest, I would accept it to not have an automated test, but at least have a manual test. And then we could potentially also, if you merge the other thing, I could try to make the tests running on the CI. Happy to spend some work there, because I'm also a huge testing fan. So that was my main work for Specter Desktop, to do all sorts of tests and then even UI tests and whatever. So I love to improve the testing framework.
Yes, it's definitely a great idea. I also see it as a weak point of the project, the lack of rigorous testing. I would also integrate UI testing as well.
Yeah, at some point in time, we can do also UI testing, but I think we should start with getting the tests to run on a CI, the existing tests, which...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we can add new ones as we go. But as I said, CryptoGuide, I would be happy to also merge it with manual test data and test it once with a small description of how this has been done. Otherwise, I would suggest you review the other PR and then we merge it, and then I can piggyback on that. And maybe if you just provide the test data, I can put some work on getting that to automatically be tested. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have a look at this Nix build one and stuff, and I'll throw a manual one in there at least, just because like it's one of those things where how it parses data coming in for PSBTs, for literally every single supported data type, is the sort of thing that CI just does perfectly, and like is just really easy to make sure that it's not breaking things all the time. So yeah, that one basically means that you could take a wallet descriptor straight from Liana and it will work, and import it just off the micro SD card. So at the moment, that's basically just putting some logic in there to identify a descriptor in a bit of a broader way than what is already there. But yeah, so that's that one. But we do need some tests for these sorts of things anyway, and I'll throw some manual ones in.
Great.
Oh.
Could this fix also this problem which I shared in the because someone said that the new scanner model, the M3Y scanner model, because if you scan a big descriptor with like 3 or 5, I'm not sure if I did an issue.
The M3Y won't work. That's like, people shouldn't use it. That's what I'm saying in the chat. Like, it doesn't have the actual code in the code base to work.
So could you repeat this? I didn't get it completely.
You're saying that scanner module, right? That's a specific version of the scanner module.
So the M3Y is a different scanner model entirely. So the GM65, so if we just talk about this PR here that you've got under your cursor, that is a minimal patch that, so you know that QR code that Schmartz found that basically sets the a setting. Essentially what this one does is check the version of the scanner, and if it's one of the new ones, the new M65s, GM65s that produce the bad binary QRs, that actually applies the fix. So that QR code that we've been telling people to scan, this actually fixes it. So it's the really new GM65s, but this patch does not address the M3Y scanners.
Yeah.
Again, I got most of the way through writing the driver for the M3Y scanner in just normal Python, but didn't actually take the step to put it into Specter just because the fix for this older scanner arrived. So I figured that that's an easy and simpler one to just put in, and then we can rework the actual QR driver later to implement some other readers.
Yeah, so this is about the newer one, but not about the older one. And I don't get the part, what would be, or let's talk about this one maybe first, because we have it here at hand, right? So, this was not, I probably mixed it up. That's why I'm asking here for Schnulz, because I thought it would be the older one, but it's not. So, maybe we just need to test that. Schnulz, maybe that you can test that with the newer module. Should we? Do you use the newer module, Schnulz, for your for us or not?
Your mic's muted, Schnulz.
That's because that's the cheapest one.
Schnulz, your mic.
Oh, sorry. So currently I use the M3Y model for the shield lights, because this model is the cheapest one. It's not perfectly implemented yet, but so you can't change in the settings the flashlight. This is but this could be implemented sometime maybe. But currently I already shipped the M3Y scanner models, and they work. So you can just scan the seed QR, works pretty good, and you can scan the descriptors. Now we found out that with the M3Y that some descriptors don't work, like the big 3 of 5 multisig descriptor didn't work for some reason. And yeah, maybe I thought I made a issue, but I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't make it. I need maybe I didn't save it or something. I'm going to make one. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we really so that the PR that I brought makes it so that all GM65s will work, whereas the code for the M3Y scanners has not been integrated. So they're essentially just running in continuous mode when you fire it up, and just dumping whatever they see in a format that's mostly correct. But it's not. The M3Y devices should not be considered as like production ready, at least in my opinion, just because I have not actually tested them thoroughly on the MicroPython hardware. Again, we don't even have CI tests, so that's one of the things we need to really have a validation suite. But
yeah, well, testing the hardware on CI will be pretty difficult, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, the GM65 is the reader. It's the original ones that gave the correct binary codes. Then those new ones that have a differently shaped, like little integrated circuit on there. The newer GM65s need the patch to work. But once it's applied once, it's good. So basically, I'm shipping the GM65s and just running the firmware on them to make sure they're automatically patched before sending them out. But yeah, we should probably put an issue or something to try and get the M3Y driver integrated, like in the next month or two, if they're actually being shipped already. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think from my point of view, it would be the most relevant part would be to get this one in here. So it would be great, Schnurz, maybe if you can test that. Would that be possible for you?
I'm not I'm not very technical, so how can I test this?
So the way to test this is to get one of the, you know how you were scanning that QR code that made the GM65s, the broken GM65s work?
So what
like
do
you
mean?
shared it on. So the GM65s, so the older reader, there was a QR code that you managed to get from their support agent that once you scan it, it puts them into raw mode properly. And if you have any of those newer GM65s, the ones that don't read the binary QRs correctly, essentially the test would be to firstly make sure that the patch doesn't foul up any existing GM65s you've got, so older ones, and that it correctly patches the new ones to work with the new, so that they read binary QRs correctly.
Okay.
So,
and I think the problem here for Schnurz is also where to get the binary, because if you ask me, then there would be if we would merge this one and port it back to the other PR, I can make that happen. Then automatically we would get a binary which could be downloaded.
Yeah,
by
that's true. That's true. So, and those CI builds you've got, which keys do they build with? The test ones?
They're completely keyless. So
okay. Oh, that's great.
They are not bootloader. So these are development builds, and you have to unlock your hardware and remove the lock, but then you can flash it to whatever device you would like to, right?
Yep. Right.
And that's great for testing. And Schnurz knows how to unlock it, so that's easy. There's a description somewhere in the bootloader. By the way, in the bootloader repository, there is a description of how to unlock a already flashed device, and then you can put whatever you have built yourself or what you're downloading from somewhere.
Yep.
But where can I get the file? So normally,
we would need to merge this, and then we port this to the. So I think here, let me actions. Feature initial stress test, and you would click here, and here would be the artifacts, firmware binaries. You could download it. Yeah, and it's exactly, I've downloaded twice already, and it would be possible to it's a zip file, and you basically you unzip it, and then there's the binary in there. Yeah.
Okay, so okay. It's like the initial firmware thing. I can just put it inside of the board, and then I can flash it.
Yes, but you have to unlock it first. Yeah. So just here, maybe others want to know that
you
as well.
Unlock the.
The easiest way is to use STM's Cube programmer. UI. You also can do it with a command line, but in some cases it's a bit tricky.
Yeah,
Because you need to unlock each sector
I
separately.
know how to do this. Maybe you can, but it's good to have it. Maybe share this again in the chat pub, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm thinking is how to get this file. So could you show me in the?
Not yet. This is not yet possible. We have to merge my PR and then put it on CryptoGuide's PR, and then we will get with every PR you automatically get these kind of files the way I just showed.
Okay,
so it's
this
not,
would be great because
yeah,
then
any PR would then. Yeah, you could then click on actions and look then for every commit. For every commit, you get the binaries, right? And then you can click here, scroll down, and then download it here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this would be great. If this works, I test it. I have like a couple of scanners which are currently in debuggy mode, I call it, and then I can see if it works.
Great.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a shame it doesn't work with the GM805s. It only works with the GM65s. So again, it's an undocumented memory byte that's set, but it does work. So
the thing is, like, at some point in time, I did some work together with Smuts, where I looked at the different models, and we forked something which you have either forked yourself or this one here, this serial.
Yeah. So that was that tool. I basically had a driver that could do most of the functionality for the MY3. So actually, like changing the baud rate, adjusting the settings so that it worked reliably. But yeah, that's right. So that table's a good summary. So I hadn't seen that updated one, but the thing is, this driver has not been ported into Specter is the issue. Yeah.
So we could potentially work on that, and probably somewhere this repository or the forked one or whatever, that is the way to go.
But that's getting that CI going that you've done, at least to be able to make builds easy for folk who aren't able to build it any other way.
Okay. Good. So I then maybe I think we are done with the PRs, at least with those ones here, and maybe that's also enough for today. But I want to also I'm not sure anything else what you think might be important to address, mention, or discuss.
One thing that I've also got as a PR that I didn't put in, I'll just mention, is an address verification thing, like scanning the QR code. So I do actually have a PR that I haven't brought into the main branch just because it's reasonably slow running on MicroPython. So probably needs some broader UI fixes. But anyway.
What do you mean by that?
So to be able to scan a QR code, an address, an arbitrary address, and have it automatically cycle through and check, is it an address associated with any of the wallets that are loaded in the current profile? So not without it having the actual Specter formatted derivation information. It just brute forces the addresses, but it basically you can only really brute force 20 addresses at a time, 25. Otherwise, it sits there for ages. Because at the moment it checks every loaded account rather than having to choose the account or whatever. So it would break if people had lots of accounts. It would just sit there for like half a minute churning away. So it needs a bit of UI work.
Awesome. That sounds really cool, useful.
But yeah, so I guess part of my goal with the PR around the wallet descriptor and the address verification is to make Specter more plug and play with just standard wallets that don't format their descriptors or their addresses in any, I wouldn't say proprietary, but any specifically Specter-friendly way. So just ones that just dump a descriptor raw and expect your wallet to be able to decode it. So anyway.
Yeah.
I noticed that Maurice has his hands up. So
Morris,
Yeah.
Morris, you can.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm a completely newbie and I have just a question. How can I modify the UI on the screen that you can see on the Spectre if I want to modify it? So like if I want to have not that many options on the screen, for example.
So adding a new option or something like that.
No.
I mean, it depends on whether if we're talking about the old version right there. I would say it's a little bit of a bigger thing. I can make a kind of tutorial here, maybe next week, where we look into it, how to modify Spectre, the old firmware, and probably also the new one, because there won't be so much difference from the Python point of view. Or maybe CryptoGuide can show something.
I was just going to show you. So, like, I would suggest to you the place to start is with the documentation on the simulator, and to get that running. Have you got your simulator running on your computer at this point?
I haven't done anything before.
What operating system are you on? Are you on Windows, Linux?
I'm on Mac. Yeah.
Mac. All right. So basically, I would suggest that you follow these instructions here. The instructions for Linux work on both Windows WSL and native Linux. And these instructions, as is, I have found do work. So I would start with getting the simulator running, because that means you can actually just run Spectre just on your computer, just in a command prompt.
Cool.
And essentially what you do then is you can actually then just edit files. So, for example, the user interface files. Let's see if I can get this to just. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. But anyway, essentially once you've got it running on your computer, you can actually then go in and edit the menus and things that are in the source folder and the GUI.
Okay.
And there's like Python files in there called like, menu.py, and these like tell you all the notes on the menus and things. So it's kind of an exercise in learning to read Python and learning to code in Python. But my suggestion to you is that I wouldn't even waste my time with hardware at this point. You really want to be able to fire up the simulator just on your computer, like edit the title for the button you want and then see that it changes. Edit the size for some buttons and see that they change, so that way you can like edit some code, make simulate and see it reflected straight away. Like, to me, that's going to be the fastest process you're going to have for learning how to tweak the UI. And you can start that straight away. Like, you don't actually need to wait. The simulator instructions work like as of right now. They are still correct. The only thing that we were talking about earlier in the call was that the simulator doesn't make it easy as of today to hook up an actual QR code scanner to your computer and things like that. It sort of dumps the files. It looks in certain folders for like the file system for microSD and so on. But if you're just wanting to do user interface changes, you could start getting it going straight today. And I would suggest step one is getting the simulator running, so you can see it, and then just start hacking and changing from there. And then once you get a feel for what just fiddling around, then you could actually adjust. So anyway, if anyone wants to have anything to add about the simulator or tips you might have struck on Mac, that's probably might be helpful for him.
I would ask, like, are you familiar with an IDE like Visual Studio Code?
No, I'm just a dummy. I'm just a 3D modeling guy, and I just want to have something a little bit simpler on the screen and with not that many options.
Because maybe I'm doing a very short demo. What I would suggest. So the first thing which you really definitely have to do is you have to work your way through like this. Can you see his screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is Visual Studio Code. That is more or less the IDE, which helps you to modify files and things like that. And what I think is a great coding tool, or a great tool at all, is AI. So I know people who are doing lots of AI coding, and I do it myself, and maybe it's not the best start, or you should not expect to only work with UI. You should learn coding as well, but AI can help you. And sometimes there's here an integrated AI, which unfortunately haven't indexed the code base, because otherwise I would be able to show you how to work with AI in terms of coding. Yeah, you can just discuss with the AI what you would like to have. The AI would make the change. And but what you would need to start with is a simulator, right? And then if the simulator is working, you do something like make simulate. And this is the playground, which maybe is exactly what you would like to have. You have something like this here, right? So this is address number 1, and you have a previous and next. And then you would like to have something additional here. You want to here, this is the address navigator. So this is the code, and this is 100 lines long here, right? And somewhere here, we need to change something in order to have a new button, right? And then what you can do is you add that file to the context of the AI. So I did that because whatever I'm opening here is already in the context. And then I say something like, can I have another button navigating to the first address? Something like that. Yeah.
Can I just add something quickly, because I have to go in a minute? But
yeah.
I've been using GitHub Codex, and I've been extremely impressed with it. It is, in my opinion, at least worth spending a few bucks a month for the ChatGPT Plus, just because it's asynchronous and sits in the browser, similar to this. But even if it's not generating code for you, if you're learning how to code, you can actually ask it to explain to you how a code base works, and it will actually generally give you quite a good answer. So if you're just if you're new to programming, and you get the simulator going or whatever, you could actually ask it to make changes like what he's suggesting here in his IDE. But you can also just ask it to explain to you how it works, and it will just read the whole code base and actually give you a human readable tutorial basically on how the code works. It can even tell you if you're having trouble trying to set the simulator up and you're getting error code. You can actually have a conversation and say, this is the error code. What should I try? So I've been very impressed at its ability to help review existing code and to add comments to make it more understandable. And again, for me, this is one of the other reasons why CI, I think now more than ever, is critical. Because for some of the open source stuff I maintain, I've got people bringing PRs, like random people I've never met, which were obviously vibe coded. And sometimes there's no tests. So you have to have CI to be able to, number one, let the AI self-validate its own work, but even to be able to know that what is being brought is any good. Because just from visual inspection, it's not obvious what has been vibe coded and what has not. So anyway, that's a tangent we could talk about another time. But I think he's right. That AI can be a really powerful tool to help understand how it works and even how you might make a change. But you do need to take the time to be able to spot the difference between just garbage, which it spits out, and something that's actually good. So,
And here it would be exactly, so I fully agree to all of it. And just the tooling from my point of view is a little bit different. So I'm using Augment. I like it. And you can see here now the changes because it's green, but you have to work your way through the kind of details like Visual Studio Code. But what is URL, or what was the product which you mentioned?
I was talking about GitHub Codex. So GitHub Codex is the OpenAI one, and basically for example, I just put Specter DIY in, and just asked it to explain how to hide a button. You know, can you explain to me how to remove some buttons from the graphical interface? And it actually tells you, you know, you'd edit the button list, and if that wasn't good enough, you could actually then say, you know, which files should this I edit?
Is it this one here?
Show me?
Is it this project?
Yeah, but it's actually not even an open source. It's actually it's hang on. It's basically their commercial one. It's the thing about it that makes Codex powerful is it's asynchronous. So you can open up your phone, ask it to code something, and then come back and review it half an hour later. So it's very good as a first step to just let it have a first try at something. And again, half the time what it spits out is hot garbage, but it actually does spit out some very good stuff a lot, as long as you take the time to actually review it. So you don't just uncritically say, yeah, it looks good. But
I have to jump as well on time. Yeah, so very quick wrap up. I hope we will see next week again, because I'm planning to do that more or less every week, and we see what we have to talk about or what we will talk about. But I think it's a great way to to bring the project forward. And it was very nice meeting. Thank you all of you. I really have to jump because of another meeting. So thank you very much.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.